Hey, I'm Kristi Mitchell, and welcome to Unfudge Your Marketing, the podcast where we talk about what really happens when marketing doesn't go according to plan. Every week, I sit down with business owners and leaders to unpack the missteps, the experiments that didn't land, and the decisions they'd probably rethink if given a do-over. But more importantly, we talk about what they learned on the other side and what you can take with you as you build your own business. Success rarely comes from getting it right the first time. It comes from taking action, making mistakes, adjusting, and showing up again and again. If you've ever wondered whether you're the only one figuring this out as you go, you're in the right place. Hello. Today I am so excited to welcome Alan Lamparella to the show. Alan spent 30 years leading manufacturing and industrial organizations in senior roles. Over that time, he learned a hard truth. Growth creates complexity faster than most leadership teams are prepared to manage, which that really resonates with me because I find marketing becomes complex for businesses all the time. After guiding companies through expansion, ERP implementations, cultural transformation, and major operational crises, Alan founded TaskLight to help founders install clear operating systems that scale. He works with mid-sized companies to bring structure to strategy, discipline to execution, and sanity back to leadership. With that, I will welcome Alan to the show.
Hi, thank you very much for having me on. And I can't guarantee the sanity because some of that is out of my control.
Yes, but you help them at least move
There's the
towards
opportunity.
sanity.
Yes. There's the opportunity for sure.
Which is huge, right? Business owners
Yes.
face so many challenges. So yes, I love all of that. Love your bio. I always like to start things out by sharing how we met. So you and I actually met at a local networking event. I'm a part of Rochester Women's Network. You are a part of the Brighton Chamber of Commerce, and they joined forces for a networking event a month or so ago.
Yeah.
We connected and decided to have you on the show.
It was great. It's one of those random connections that I make, just going to a lot of different organizations and getting to meet people. And I just turned around and said, hey, I'll talk to these people. And there you are.
Yes. Yeah, it was a great event. You were one of a few people that I had great conversations with that night. And I was so excited when you reached out to have a conversation. You mentioned you were watching the show and you had some of your own experiences. So I'm so glad you kind of raised your hand and said, I'd be willing to come share my story.
Always.
It's not an easy task, what I ask people to do when they come on the show in terms of being open and vulnerable and sharing their own mistakes, but I'm always super appreciative. So thank you in advance for your willingness to come on and talk about your experience.
Sure.
So when we talked about having you come on, you mentioned kind of the earlier stages of your business, which I forget. How long have you been in business now?
Not quite a year yet.
Yeah. Okay. So still very early. And in those really early days, you had mentioned kind of leveraging a marketing friend that you had and also some what you referred to as, quote, liberal use of AI and kind of how that set you off on your entrepreneurial journey. So I would love for you to kind of take us back to the beginning and explain what happened.
So when you start a business and you're a solopreneur and you're on your own, you're like, okay, I have to do all the things. And having run businesses before, I know what the things are, right? And of course, you never want to spend any money, right? Even though you spent so many years learning that good investment makes sense and works out for you well. So I thought, all right, well, I can do this. I can come up with something. And I have a friend who's a great writer and very creative and was super helpful. And he started giving me some ideas, and I went and used every AI I could find, all of the, hey, make your company name and make your company logo. And I went through all of them, and I so many iterations of everything I could think of. And every one of them I looked at it and was like, oh, this is so bland. This is not me. This just doesn't work. And we got kind of close at one point, but I was like, I'm not feeling it. If I'm going to do this, if I'm going to have my own business and people are going to trust it and care, I got to do it right. And
Yeah.
so I called up a friend of mine who he's been working in the digital space, so far above my head, I don't even know what he does. For many, many years. I met him when I was 3. So he and I have been good friends for a very long
Oh, way
time, I
back.
guess 47 years. Uh, and I said, hey, I said, Brody, help me out. I just don't know how to get to the right spot. He said, I got you. Call these people in Virginia. I worked with them. They're great. What a difference. I mean, there was process. They had specific questions. We walked through specific things, and they came up with TaskLight Business Advisory, which I loved
Mm-hmm.
because TaskLight, it's kind of a play on my name, my last name, Lamparella. And it's kind of it's a little bit of like going from tasks to enlightenment, which is what I try and help my clients do.
Yeah.
And then the colors were great because when you live up here in Rochester, you spend a lot of time in sort of grayness. So then they came up with these really great colors, which I love. And
Yeah.
what a difference.
Awesome. So when you say you went to AI, which I just want to say too, like you were, I would say, an early adopter in terms of, I mean, I know established businesses who still haven't embraced AI. And here you are, you're like just starting out your business and you're like, all right, I'm going to go to AI and I'm going to use it. Now, just to be clear, you were really using it to help brainstorm the name, the logo, the color scheme, kind of that like initial
Yeah.
branding for your business. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming from manufacturing, a lot of times what you find is that companies, especially big established companies, they don't tend to invest in their equipment and in the technology of the day as well as they probably should. And
Mm-hmm.
so I experienced that a lot where it was just like, what, we're falling behind because we just didn't try and use what was available to us. So it created a rule for me, right? Those who do not use the technology of the day will fall behind.
Mm.
Um, and it was from failing so many times doing that came. And so when AI came out, I was just as scared and skeptical and worried about it as everybody else. But it wasn't going anywhere, and we were going to get
Yeah.
it was coming, and you had
Yeah.
that feeling. So I said, I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn. And I read some books and I called some people in technology who I know and asked them questions. And then really the best way to do it was just to start using it. So
Mm-hmm.
going into it, knowing sort of the what to do, what not to do. Here are the things you
Yeah.
don't want to share. Um, I just dove in and started using it to learn as much as I could about how it works, how I can prompt it, how it can help me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I still use it very liberally right now, mostly to correct my grammar. Um, but what I've learned is that there's still no replacement of people. There's no replacement for the connection of people, for the way that we can read each other and help each other understand things.
Yeah.
So it hasn't figured that out yet.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I have always kind of taken the stance. There are some things AI can be really good at in terms of marketing, and there's some things that, you definitely should still rely on people. And it sounds
Yeah.
like you had that experience trying to name your business, come up with the logo and the color palette and all of that. So
Yeah.
I want to dig in a little more detailed in terms of like, what was your experience trying to use AI to do this? I mean, I know that you said you were very unimpressed with what it was
Yeah.
giving you. And it sounds like you felt like there was a lack of process in terms of trying to use AI for this versus when you went and hired an expert to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you can kind of look back on and say these were the key differences between using AI versus using humans to do this thing for me?
Yeah. And part of it was me. right? So you have to know how to prompt it in order for it to give you what you need. And it was relatively, you know, I didn't have that much time with it, so I didn't really understand that. Um, and so I would give it prompts that I thought made sense, and I didn't get the kind of information that I thought I needed. And I kept trying to refine that and refine that, but again, it was just something that I didn't know, and
Mm-hmm.
um, and so I got those bland results. But when talking to the pros, they've done this before. They know exactly how to do it. They have exactly
Mm-hmm.
the questions to ask, and they dug in deep. Like they really wanted to know. I'm talking about a logo, and they're like, "Tell me why your business exists." I'm like, "Holy cow, you want to know my why?" Like, but in their creative process, that makes a difference to them, and
Yeah.
how they come up with things. And I was like, well, I've got 30 years of all of this experience and mistakes and successes and pains, and I want to give it away and help a larger group of people to be successful. And they were
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, good, all right. And then they kept digging,
Yeah.
and so that's the other part of it, was that personal connection, right? It didn't just pop up on a screen. We had a personal connection, and we worked through it, and that really allowed me to kind of connect with it better.
Yeah.
As I was thinking about this the other day, and I was talking to a client who was asking about the process and stuff, and they're a very smart person in charge of a very successful company. And they asked, why would I involve my team in building out this system? I know how to do this. I'm a very smart person. It's like, yes, but you're missing the process. So you miss a few things. One is you miss all of those other minds and brains that you can use to improve what you came up with. None of us is as
Mm-hmm.
smart as all of us, as they say. And the other thing is the process of going through that. You become sort of the teacher. They become sort of the students, although they'll contribute. They go through the process and get ownership and believe in it and follow you more closely. And you, as the teacher always learns more. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have that deeper connection to things. So that it was interesting how that all tied back to the work.
Yeah, I love that you shared that because I've experienced something similar, even which people are surprised to hear me say. Like, I've hired branding people for my own business. Like, yes, I'm in marketing, but it's not the same. Like, branding is a subset of the overall marketing world, and
Yeah,
branding is not something that I am an expert in. And so, by all means, I'm going to hire experts to help me with that. And I know exactly what you're saying with through the questions that you're asked by a branding expert or someone who like lives and breathes in that space.
mm-hmm.
It really helps you connect with it more. I get exactly what you're saying. It's like, oh yeah, this is my why, like you were saying, or these are my core values. I didn't like, I guess I vaguely knew them, but I didn't have this like concrete, like, yes, the clients I work with need to also care about these things. Otherwise the
Yeah,
work isn't going to work.
yeah,
So I know exactly what you're saying.
yeah. Uh, and you touched on another thing too, which is the complexity of business today. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I I I often find it hard to put into words, but the analogy that I always use is, well, when I started in business, or when I started working as a young person, and today I pay twice as many bills, more than twice as many bills per month than I paid back then, and half of them didn't even exist back when I
Yeah.
started working. And it speaks to that level of complexity and what happened in as an opportunity for business people, that I
Mm-hmm.
think we kind of get scared. It kind of scares us, like we want to have our all of our stuff in our own business and under our own control. And it's a little bit scary to think, well, there's a person over here who's a branding expert, and I could hire them, but I have a marketing person. Why can't I have my marketing person do that? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your marketing person is often more of a generalist, right? They're running a
Mm-hmm.
whole program. They might
Yeah.
not be an expert in that. And if you want to be excellent, if you want to be the best, you reach out to the best and you work with them and they help you with a piece of it. The advantage of that nowadays, I think, and especially with people like you, is as a business, and I'm talking a little bit bigger than me, business like some of my clients, you have this access now to not only the people that work within your group, but all of these other people with years of experience and all this ability that you can bring in for a fraction, right? It's such a
Hmm.
value. Like the whole
Yes.
fractional idea. It's such a value to be able to hire somebody with 30 years of experience and they're an expert in this thing and pay this much rather than having to have them be like your
Full-time
whole
salary.
full-time salary employee. And then you're like, geez, there's
Yeah.
not quite enough work for them every single day.
Right. Right. So, Alan, obviously AI is such a hot topic, continues
Mm-hmm.
to be. I have been seeing more and more threads on LinkedIn that, to be honest, some of them I get a little fired up over. I think a lot of people are like all or nothing, right? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, there's like a really happy medium, I think, that's, in the middle of when we should use it and maybe when we shouldn't be using it.
Yeah.
I'm curious from your experience, right? I had a post recently where I talked about I don't see my job going away despite AI. I mean, maybe
Mm-hmm.
someday, but I still think that there's a level of specificity, like you said, and really customization. That's one thing I really pride myself on when I work with my clients is really truly listening and understanding them and their business and how they want to show up in the world. And if I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
you should do A, and they're like, nope, absolutely not doing that. Okay, let's find something else instead. Versus, I think when you go to AI, you're getting kind of like a standard recipe, a prescription, without a whole lot of like wiggle room or customization or full understanding. And it sounds like you had a similar experience in the way you tried to use AI originally with naming and branding and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where my question is in all of that,
Yeah.
but
I'm
how
not sure where that
like
went. But so I think AI is a great tool, and I think that we think of it and we use it that way as a tool. I used it as a tool as I was driving home from coffee this morning, and I started asking it about this conversation, and I asked it to help quiz me and ask me some questions that you might ask me just to get me going and get me in the mood. Great tool,
mhm.
fantastic. I don't know. We'll find out. But
You're doing great.
I think of it that way, and I think of it as a tool to do sometimes things that are very complex,
Mhm.
calculations and making spreadsheets and all of that fun stuff that I can do. It just takes longer, like any other tool.
Yes.
I
Right.
think when it comes to a lot of things that we have to do in business, the personal connection is critical. I'll give you a story. So I was running a wood products company as vice president, general manager, and our R&D team and marketing team presented to me this new product, and it was great. Exactly what we wanted to do. We had gone through the process and we talked about it, and they had a name on it. And I said, no, that is not going to be the name. And the marketing director and I got into a heated conversation, right? And we were able to do that because we had built the trust in that team where we could be open and honest with each other, right? She knew I wasn't saying that to hurt her feelings. She knew I wasn't trying to make a power play. She knew
Mhm.
that I had some experience. I had some thought processes. I had some of a point of view that said that one is not going to work for our clients.
Yeah.
As much as it was heated, because she worked very hard on a lot of that, and it prompted us then to have further creative session and conversation, and the name that she ultimately came up with, her and her team, was so much better, and it made much more sense to our customers Yeah, and obviously I couldn't have measured like what was the difference in sales or whatever, but it made sense to them in the sense that they connected with it. Um,
Right.
I haven't had an argument with AI yet. I don't know if it would then prompt AI to like work with that extra emotion and work harder to make it
Yes.
better, um, but again, I think that those are the things that really help us get that little bit more excellence, that pushing each other and really wanting to meet that level of excellence that we desire.
Right. And honestly, that example takes me back to how we started this conversation, right? Like you were trying to use AI and you're like, this just doesn't feel good. Like I'm not excited about it. And if I'm building a
Yeah.
business, I want to be excited about it.
Right.
So I think it's the same thing, right? You're like, you need that kind of like pushback. And it's funny because as we've been having this conversation, I was thinking, what if you never had that? Like, what if you just settled and you were like, nah, I guess this is good enough. This is the best I'm gonna get. Cause I'm willing to bet there's a lot of people who do that.
I, I'm sure I would have been kind of meh. It would have been good enough.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would have had the confidence and really motivation. I just felt really good about it,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't have had that. And you don't go forward with the same level of confidence. This is just one
Mm-hmm.
thing, right? This was just a logo and a business name, but
Yeah.
I can go forward saying, I know exactly why we did it that way. I know exactly what it means. I could probably talk for too long about why we did it and what it means to me and what I feel like it should mean to our clients.
Yeah.
But that just it adds to it, right? Every little bit of clarity and confidence that we put into our business helps us move forward a little bit faster.
Yes.
And don't we shouldn't ignore those things, because a lot of times it's those little tiny things that add up that
Mm-hmm.
do hold us back.
Yeah, and I love that you just said help us move faster because I think that is a reason, right? That a lot of people turn to AI thinking that AI can name their business or come up with a logo or create their content for them, right? Whatever the thing is. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm focused on all the marketing things right now. And
Right.
and it's like, oh, this is appealing because it will be faster and maybe and cheaper, right? Than going out and
Yeah.
hiring an expert. But what I'm taking away from this conversation, Alan, is like lack of clarity and lack of conviction and confidence in what you're doing is gonna catch up with you, right? Like what
Yeah.
you're sacrificing in speed and cost to use AI for some of these things is gonna set you back in the long run because you're not gonna have that confidence to talk about your business and know your values and know why you're named the way you are and who your ideal clients are. Like if you're lacking all those things, it's like that, one step forward, two steps back, I guess is the only
Yeah.
way I can think of it.
Yeah. I think, especially from my point of view, where my background is engineering and leadership, and it's not marketing. I had to learn marketing from some great people, and I still don't know the tiniest bit in comparison to what they know. When you're a solopreneur, you have to figure it out, and
Mm-hmm.
even in that state, you you still want to you still need that people connection, because I've come up with things, and what's the first thing I think about? Oh, I want to run this by so and so. I want to run that by so and so. It's it's who we are as people, and as much as that tool helps us, it's not people. And ultimately, what is our marketing trying to do? It's trying to
Yeah.
connect with people. It's trying to help people understand how we can help them. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's what every business is in business for, right? I'm in business to
Right.
help somebody else make their life better.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think too, right? It's like it's that trust piece. Like you're saying, like I want to go to so and so because I know they're an expert in this and I want to kind of test my thinking or, this new business name or whatever the thing is. I want to get their insight on it because I trust them. I trust the expertise and the experience that they bring to the table because they are so good in this specific area. And that is a thing that I think, AI is not there for a lot of those things, at least not now. Who knows what the future holds, but how can you trust a software like you could trust a best friend or a trusted business partner? It's just, I think it's just so different.
And have you, think about the times that you've maybe presented to a client and you thought you had it nailed and they pushed back. What was the result? Right? The result was probably something better. Or maybe the result was, wow, we're actually not the right fit for each other. Both of those are fine.
Yes.
Right? You want the right fit. Sometimes you just don't know. I think that's one of the things that's one of the things I feel like the real pros in whatever that business is are going to be able to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the right fit?
For sure.
If that's the first thing I'm trying to find out when I'm marketing myself and reaching out to companies, am I the right fit for you? I might be, I might not be. That's okay.
Right. Yeah. I'm the same way. We could have a whole nother conversation just about that. But we are running out of time here. So I do want to start to wrap up our conversation. I think that there have been so many valuable takeaways for listeners, but I always like to give my guests the opportunity. Is there one last kind of piece of advice that you would want to leave people with?
Don't be afraid to ask the pros and hire them when you know you should hire them. That's my advice, mostly to myself, but certainly to clients, because there are so many great folks out there like you who might be an absolute perfect fit and are a total bargain for the level of product professionalism and intelligence that you get.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I think, if someone were to ask me what is a recurring theme on this show, I would say trust your gut. And that is one thing that I heard from you, right? With this story, this experience that you shared, it's like you trusted your gut. You're like, this isn't good enough. This isn't going to cut it for me. And so I hear that in the advice that you're giving too. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
But very lastly, Alan, I would love to give you the opportunity. How can people learn more about you and the work that you do?
Couple of easy ways. I am on LinkedIn, and people can reach out, connect. I think I have a schedule a meeting link too, pretty easy. And it's ALAN, and my last name is Lamparella, 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 phonetic, not too hard to spell out. And also on my website, which is tasklightadvisory.com.
Nice. Very, very good. Thank you so much, Alan, for your willingness to come on the show and share your experience with all of our listeners. I know that there were lots of great nuggets to take away from this.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really glad that we got to meet, and I'm still catching up on the several hundred or so podcasts that you've done already. I keep learning new things, so I love it.
You're a binge listener. I love it.
Yes.
That's great.
All at once. Let's go.
All right. Well, until next time, everybody. We'll see you soon.